My name is TONI. My artist name is HADDAD TONI. I'm a photographer, I'm a photojournalist and a photo artist. I've been living in Madagascar since 2013 and I've been doing photography all around the island. Mix between portraits, travel photography and some landscapes as well. The Sora-be is actually one of the oldest stories that I was introduced to in Madagascar since I arrived here. Back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, I was in Ambujatuv book market and I found Bulletin de Madagascar, issue number 150 of the year 1958. And it had on the cover, it actually had the writing of the Sora-be. But the article inside didn't tell me much. They were trying to analyze some sentences of old. And since then, actually, I really wanted to go to Vohipeno and talk to the people, especially that the language I noticed is written in Arabic alphabet, and since I am an Arabic speaker, I really wanted to see what would be the possibility of perhaps learning, or at least learning what is going on with this language at the time being. So finally in 2019 I had the chance to go to Vohipeno, and it was exclusively to deliver this photo story. And I was kind of surprised to know that the alphabet still exists and it is still in the hands of regular people. And since then, I stayed in Vohipeno for around 2 months in order to develop the story and to try to understand as much as possible, although the language is different in Vohipeno. And the conditions are a bit harder than usual around the Matitanana. But still, I persevered for these 2 months to try to get this story and try to portray the actuality of this forgotten / forbidden / marginalized language of Madagascar. So this photo story consists of 15 photographs, and I had started with the first, and it was actually the last I had taken in Vohipeno. And I really like to start with this one because it was a moment of awakening of what is happening with this language, because until then, after 2 months of talking to people who claim to know how to read or write, I realized that actually people just are claiming to know how to read and write. The core understanding of the Sora-be is actually kind of lost. The first photograph is a multiple exposure, which has on one photo the portrait of Abdul Karim, who's an Obiasa by profession. The second photo of the multiple exposure is actually one of his books, which he travels with, which he normally doesn't let out of his sight. And he likes to recite when he's asked to recite from it. The second photo is actually from the village of Vohipeno, where the river Matitanana passes. Back in the days, as per the myths and stories that circulate around Vohipeno, around the 12th century, the Arabs arrived to Vohipeno, and Matitanana was the place where they had landed first. The village of Vohipeno actually has 3 kind of distinct tribes within the Antimuro tribe. And in this image we can see the palace of the tribe which comes from the African side. On the third photo we can see that Abdul Karim is writing a prescription for one of his clients. In his prescription he copies words and sentences, sometimes drawings from the books which he had inherited from his brother as he was growing up. For Abdul Karim it was a bit of a hard time with the Sora-be because his father died when he was 10 years old and his brother died when he was still young, before he actually managed to teach him everything. So we can still feel hesitation every time we talk to Abdul Karim about the Sora-be, and try to record him while he was reading the Sora-be aloud. And I would say it's like a 3 or 4 year old trying to learn a new language. On the fourth photo, I chose this photograph because it demonstrates the two of the kids of Abdul Karim. Both of them are girls, and he has a third daughter. And actually, the Sora-be is not allowed to be inherited from father to daughter or to sister. It has to go to a brother or to a son. And this seems to be creating a big issue for Abdul Karim himself, because he would like the Sora-be to continue. As limited as his knowledge is of the Sora-be, he still would like to continue and to teach it to a son, but unfortunately he cannot do that. One of his daughters, who's 12 years old, tries to peek in and see what her father is writing once in a while. But the marginalization actually arrives to the kids as well. Her father owning a Sora-be is kind of problematic for her at school. Being known that being circulated as a rumor that the Sora-be language is diabolic, whereas in fact the Sora-be is a language. It's made up of words, vocabulary, syntax, grammar. It's very rich. It's supposed to be very rich in poetry, love stories, historical times, historical changes that happened on the coast at one point or another. And it kind of carries the history of Madagascar for over 600 years. Before the colonization and before anybody arrived here and started telling stories of what they understood of Madagascar, the whole history that the Sora-be carries is too heavy to be forgotten and to be just let aside and not recognized by the government. The fifth photograph is the portrait of a katibu. His name is Tsilavin. Historically, the katibu is the one who guards and writes in the Sora-be or in the manuscripts. He is normally the one who would initiate people into learning the content and the context of the Sora-be, the alphabet, starting from the alphabet to what are the meanings of each and every word and sentence. The thing about the Sora-be is that it combines 3 different languages in one. It contains Arabic, it contains Malagasy, and contains Pidgin as well. So initiation into learning the Sora-be has to go through the katibu normally. Unless it's an umbiasa, then the initiation could happen through a brother or a father. The katibu here is 80 years old. Unfortunately, he has only one student who's kind of interested in the Sora-be. I had met this student and he can write a few words, but I'm not sure he can read them or understand what they really mean.